What's poppin'? What's poppin'? What's poppin'? What's poppin'? What's poppin'? What's poppin'?
What's good? What's poppin'? What's poppin'? What's poppin'? What's poppin'? What's poppin'? Are you poppin'? Are you poppin'? Because I know I am.
Here, we live.
Checking the connection.
We live.
Now we going live.
Here. It's a beautiful bag, by the way. Let's just show everybody this
The
beautiful.
Pan-African is...
Yo, as we are here again. Yes, El Cabulan Fam TV family. Shout out all my peoples in the T-Dot, the 6, Canada, North America, and the world. You know what I'm saying?
Here.
It's what's poppin'. As always, we waiting for my co-host, Span Dizzle. Where you at? Where you at, Pick Up and Drop Offs TV? Jeez. Howie, where you at? Anyways, listen.
The show gotta go on.
Show gotta go on, and we're here talking about Black Power. First of all, we're gonna talk about some world issues, things that are going around the world.
Okay.
Let's hear what you think about these things. First of all, there's sandstorms in East Africa and locusts,
Yes.
and people are talking about this, the end of the world.
Well, you're gonna think about it. It's fear-mongering right now. Right now we're being bombarded with so many images and so much things while in quarantine. Not being able to see families, not being able to interact with the world besides like social media. This is
Yeah.
what our new fad is. Hey, social media. Hey, world. What's going on?
Social
Yeah.
distance.
Exactly,
Right?
even social distancing parties. So I'm thinking they're producing these types of like fear into us to like try to break our spirit. So even though these things could be very real, like COVID is still very real despite people's doubts. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's just
Yeah.
about taking the precautions and being safe around this, around our people, to not limit ourselves to actually having interaction with each other. But I think it's a fear.
Perfect thing you said that about taking precautions and being safe, because another issue is that the airlines, like Air Canada,
Yes.
had sold tickets for social distancing rides, right?
Yes.
Knowing that they're not selling the middle seat so people can still social distance on the plane. Now they're negating that. They're selling the middle seat,
Yep.
and whether you paid for your ticket for a social distancing flight or not, you can't get a refund.
All
You know,
right.
So plane, like, this is us. Okay, so when the airlines aren't giving people their money back because they don't want to be on a flight where somebody's right beside them.
Right.
And is this multinational corporation bullying?
I believe so. I actually have 2 flights right now in airlines, several, and canceled because of the COVID, and they're holding my money. So when I was asking back for money, they were taking quite a big portion away of my money to give me back a refund, and saying that the only way I get the full refund is if I keep it as a credit, and I have up to 2 years.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
So
it is a way of bullying and keeping them like abreast, while we still, people who are suffering and maybe need that immediate relief, have to go
Yes.
through the bureaucracy to get
To
it
get
the
your
proper
money
way.
back.
But we were also promised by our governments that this wouldn't happen to us. It's what happened to our government.
I think our government has their own problems. They're trying to stay in power. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, one way to stay in power is to ride for your citizens. I mean, it's called Black Power.
We're
getting
doing
into
Black
the little
Power
stuff.
today.
So, first issue with Black Power is Black Lives Matter. It's a phrase that means a lot more than it's saying when people say it. But in terms of what you see as a movement, what is Black Lives Matter, and what does it mean to your idea of like activism, resistance? you know?
Okay, so I'm not a clique person. I don't necessarily partake in the actual Black Lives Matter mandated movement, but our lives matter.
Yes.
So to say that statement, it's a movement because we do matter in the context of the world.
Yes.
So therefore, I believe in that. And that's what I stand wholeheartedly behind. But the mandates of the movement itself, that's not necessarily something I personally partake in, but I commend anybody trying to make the voice louder. We do have to question the entities in which we put our trust into, and I think that's something that should be discussed. Who are the leaders of these groups?
And yes.
Where does this money come
Where's their
siphoning from?
Where's their motivation from being leaders? Right?
Exactly.
Because we know organizing takes a lot of work, right?
Right.
And I mean, I heard it through the grapevine that these guys are getting paid minimum wage by George Soros.
I think there's even more than minimum wage. You have to look at the donor ways in which some of the transactions have
Okay,
been
yeah,
with some
they're
of the
getting a lot of
leaders.
donations, right?
Exactly. So when they speak sometimes, and I even question some of the leadership as a mixed person, of somebody who's of a multi-ethnic background. I'm going to dive into this a little bit. There's been reports in the past that people have left in the past, but I want to question this, and I'm sorry some of my people might get mad.
Yeah.
Sean King, he does a great job of building. Yes, of building the awareness. However, he was questioned by Don Lennon about his actual ethnicity. There's nothing wrong about being an ally in the movement. You don't need to lie to kick it.
So what?
So to me, he's still not produced his ethnicity and lied. It's always been out of his mouth saying that it's his mother that said that all of a sudden he had a mixed dad, but they've never produced a picture. The father, that's questionable to say that he's a stepdad. I see tons of similarities. And my issue is that I am actually a mixed person. So just to infiltrate and say that you're mixed when we as mixed people have not even been accepted in all the mosaic, it makes a little bit of an issue to me.
It's like you're hijacking a struggle.
A struggle that's still not being spoken about in our diasporic experience.
Let's actually talk about this. What do you mean by so the mixed struggle has not been acknowledged by the African diaspora?
It's not necessarily going down like that, because there's even recent reports that I'm seeing as somebody who's a community activist from people that I respect in the industry, showing flyers where people are putting these out in Waterloo that are disgracing mixed race people, saying that we are more stupid. Basically, we're subhuman, and this is happening in Canada. So we can't keep talking about Canada in an American context, because we are Canadian, and it didn't end. Like the star didn't just end when Detroit was there, you know what I mean? We did come over here and we suffered our own situations. So when you talk about Quaker Oats, let's take his face off of the Oats. Instead of talking about Aunt Jemima's family, who actually are very comfortable with getting royalties for the use of their parents.
That Aunt Jemima was like a Dolomite type thing. Like, this is my likeness, and she got her just
tides.
like she was fairly dealt with in a time when black people weren't fairly dealt with. So Aunt Jemima, take that out your mouth. Right?
That's what they're trying to say. But we, as a movement, we see things differently. Oh my God, she had a chain.
But
oh my God, but we have to also talk to these families that are involved and engaged, right?
And this is the whole thing: is what racism is. It's about power, right?
It's definitely about power,
Okay,
the imposition of power. And I wanted to revisit this before we step off.
Okay, go.
Because I want people to understand my identity. I'm a black woman. I'm a black woman, so therefore I didn't even want to talk about the context of mixed race, but we have to, because a lot of people are infiltrating, saying that they are mixed race people and being accepted more than people who have always professed themselves to be black.
Yes.
So the Rachel Dolezas and the Sean Kings be black people time, black
around the GTA.
Yes.
But like, if you're not creating some new content like that, then you should be mentoring some black youth into what your profession is. Or if you're not doing that, you should be designing rites of passage programs and programs for youth. You know what I'm saying? If you're not doing that, you need to be designing security packages and how can we secure ourselves as neighbors. Let's put the neighbor back in hood. Let's put the neighbor back in neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? You see, during COVID, they were like, during this time, if you didn't learn something new, you're whack, or you know what I'm saying? You're wasting your time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what can we do other than protesting and what I said? Like, you know what I'm saying? What are some things that people should be doing out here?
I don't think it's fair for us to talk like to what other people do. It's about what we are doing individually.
Okay.
So individually, I think I'm contributing on several different levels.
Talk to me.
All right. Therefore, okay. So it has to start on a micro scale before it becomes macro. So I'm a Rexdale girl. I represent a certain community. I don't necessarily want to blast it because
The Wild Wild Rex.
Hey. Yeah, so
That's
anyways,
what she-
I'm from Rexdale, and I'm right around the corner from where we're doing this production pretty much. And I knew during a time of COVID, I had to pull back my resources because I left a sector a long time ago because I personally was stressed, and I identified that I'm a wounded warrior. During that time, people might have said, what the F was Alexis doing for anything? I was doing something for myself. So doing for yourself is very important while you're doing for others in this industry too. So we might be judging
No.
certain people.
In the community work, self-care
Is
is
very important. You break down, you burn out. When I lost my mother, that became like
Yeah,
apparent that I had to it just needed to
cut.
happen.
You have to cut all ties and restart.
Exactly. And you have to rebuild your reinforcement system. So my mother was my ally. That was my number one lady. She used some of her privilege to help protect my son and myself. Okay, so food sovereignty is very important.
Okay.
Okay, so a lot of people during this time of COVID, when we think about elders and how elders are mostly affected by this disease, because we as young people are middle class people who might not be affected in the way people would like to think. We have asymptomatic systems when we're walking around, but these are the people that we love, and we're going to their houses and we're greeting them and we're hugging them, unconsciously knowing that we're spreading something to them that could definitely take them out. So I have had people in my community affected by it, and if it wasn't for having that food sovereignty, like delivery services or African food basket
Yes, shout out
alongside
African
food
Food
share,
Basket,
yes,
Shout out
Sakaya,
Black
all
Creek
these people,
Farm, shout out
exactly,
Downsview.
doing their thing and even helping me. Me,
Yeah,
a worker
for
that's
sure.
doing the work and bringing this fresh food basket to me when I most needed it.
Yes,
It was
yes.
like heaven.
Organic.
It was heaven.
Yeah.
So you had fresh food to actually eat that you couldn't even really get in stores that was really organic because it was starting to shrivel after an hour.
Yeah.
So I had to make sure I made my soup real fast.
No, but the thing is like people have to understand too is that without these spaces and these organizations that we're talking about, like all of our community, especially in the West End of Toronto, we're living in food deserts.
Yep.
And what's a food desert? It's a place where you cannot readily get access to natural, seasonal food that is for you. You know, we eat foods that are sustainable for our bodies. So, you know what I mean? There's certain foods for Caribbean, African people need to eat. We have to eat it. So,
like soursop, and then you go to like a food no frills or a food basic here, and it's rotten.
soursop or jackfruit, you know?
Or you go and you try to pick up a proper breadfruit,
Yeah,
and the thing's so green or it's so rotten that you just get something rotten, and they never want to give you back the monies.
Still haven't tried breadfruit yet.
Well, these are like the things
You
that
never
you dive
tried it?
into.
Roll, star, fry, breadfruit.
No.
You want
and
breadfruit?
It's like actual bread, right? And it's
Well,
That's a fruit.
it's like it's like
That
a
when you
fruit,
open
and then
it-
when you open it,
like bready, right?
it's
Right,
delicious.
That's why it's called the. Hey, let's move on.
Yeah, but he's right. So like we need these like exchange programs to start happening. Like where after COVID, like the reflection on this is very serious to me because if it wasn't for programs like that, or for me reaching out to people like again here we go again. I don't necessarily subscribe to anything religious. I'm more of a spiritual being. However, I did reach out to pastors during this time of need because I know that they have the means, the charity. And if we're all there for one cause, which is people and healing people and helping people during this time, that's when we rally together and use your brain. So you don't judge them based on indoctrinations that you maybe have questions about. That's not the time for it. It's
Yeah.
now you have these charities and you have free access to these food systems or these support systems for these people. Let's do it now. So then that's how we have to rally and move and shake for the community at hand. But it gets more complex when you take it upon yourself. Like you and I, we came from a field where even
Yeah.
to this day, I might still be blacklisted on certain things that I said or did, but I was a social issue documentary filmmaker. Sometimes Dre and I used to hide in trees in the night just to catch what we needed to catch, or go to people's house, or go to like a nightclub at the end of a rap situation where they were only available at 4 a.m. when the club was about to close.
Yeah,
So we would have to like camp out there. Meanwhile, I have a baby. At those times, Dre's trying to go through school. I'm trying to finish university. They don't think about that in the context of it. And then we still had to fight in these institutions our identity. And just for blackness, remember my first film?
Yeah.
First Cuts, I'm going to bring that up too. This was Arts of Etobicoke.
Yeah.
They gave funding towards this, and it was supposed to support the youth and what they wanted. So I brought Canadian A, Andrina Mills, big you up, another cousin of mine if she happens to be listening or in the feed.
Right. Yeah. Shout out
An amazing artist, down home people. That's right, all my down home people. Even in here, Ion was on the mic.
Ion Mike was on the mic.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So it's like all these like homegrown and sustainable things, but we tried to put our identity out there. We did everything that we could. We were so passionate. We drove. He came with me. He was even going to do his own thing afterward, but it just ended up. Yes, remember when we went? So we would travel. All we would get literally was tokens. Okay, like you kids don't know how hard we work for you guys to have the programs that you have.
Breaking the Cycle, shout out every program.
Breaking the Cycle, Gary A. Newman, my boy.
Yeah. No, hold on. Shout out all the programs where you actually get paid to be there. Like, you get paid a paycheck to be at the program.
Hannah!
You know what I'm saying? Shout out
all the people.
Everybody in the community that's really out here doing stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Trying.
I mean, we gotta get together first before we deal with our internal issues.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I think right now the main thing is about coming together and not working in silos. Let's talk about silos.
Yes.
Let's talk about all the people doing the same thing around the city, around the country. They're doing the same thing, and it's over. You know what I mean? It's oversaturated. So people are not there. You know what I mean?
Yes. Sorry. Repeat a little bit. Sorry. Repeat that one a little bit.
Okay, so basically what I'm saying is
oversaturation.
Yeah, like we're working in silos, doing the same thing all over the place. and then there's no connectivity. So there's 5 people at that event and 5 people at that event when they could all came together
and talk about it. Well, our pride and our egos get in the way of our internal community, and unfortunately that's the destruction of us. Because even now, I know there's people out there probably observing on your feed. They hate me, and I don't give a crap about that. It's not about personally me. If what I speak is truth, and we're here for one mandate, which is about empowering our people and for the betterment and growth, our education to be taught, our black people to be able to come together and have events like a social distancing party, even if we couldn't dance. But seeing each other, to me, when I was at that event yesterday, big up to Jay Martin, it just meant the world to me to be able to come to you guys today with this spirit again, because I was broken. I was at home as a wounded warrior crying. I cried to Dre about this, why we're having this, because I was literally breaking down, having PTSD, telling him it's not stress, it's post-traumatic slave syndrome. The rumble in the belly is coming from the ancestors, and like, I'm named after an ancestor. His history should be taught. He's very powerful, actually. My black history in this country matters. Like the Johnson name, our tree. Ion knows all about these things.
My brother
Amanda knows about these things. Scotians out there. Neil Donaldson, if he's catering into the situation.
Stolen from Africa.
All those things. It's a movement, right? Stolen from Africa is a movement I support.
Yeah, we've been supporting.
Wholeheartedly. They also brought out black flags that people don't know about that was representing Black Canada back then. I remember I bought my black flag from Brother Bona Muhammad, another Canadian doing his thing with his identity, right?
Yeah.
So like we have a whole bunch of surplus of greatness in this city. We could have the greatest of industry. We have some of the most fire female MCs that ever existed on the face of the world. Like big up Roots K. You have people like Jelly Two Fly still doing her thing year after year. You gotta big up those type of people.
Lola Buns.
There you go.
Shout out,
big up Pound Entertainment, still trying to promote and keep the ingrained Canadian historical like background here. You know, even mans them like Daytona and
Daytona coming back, like that's what I'm trying to say is like guys like Daytona, people like you know Trey Trife, you know what I'm saying? My peoples, like the older generation needs to come
Rochester
back.
AK Juice.
Even
They're still
JD
doing their
era,
thing.
they coming
JD
back.
era is doing his thing.
But this is what I'm
still.
saying.
But people don't know.
But this is what I'm trying to say. They need to come back because right now it's about having something to say. Right?
And they need to
a lot
say-
of these young bucks, you're not well versed in having something to say. You don't have things to say. That's why it's all about dancing. So,
I'm gonna disenfranchise that type of thought from you. You know why?
go ahead.
You have young men like Buddy. We might not believe in everything that these people say, but you have black, 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 black on black, black on black on black.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes.
becoming the anthem, and what they're saying in those type of things are actually really realistic.
I know,
if you
I heard
listen
that
to
song.
So therefore, you can't say they're not saying anything because it's the young ones
Okay, hold
now
on,
that
stop,
are
stop, stop.
chomping
Stop,
based
stop,
on
stop,
the
stop.
history they've been fed.
Stop. That's like telling me you stopped smoking yesterday. Okay?
No, but
yeah,
they
you
are
stopped
the
smoking
youth.
yesterday.
They're
Listen.
the youth right now tearing down the statues,
Hold on,
even though
stop.
we were meant to do this.
Hold on, stop.
Like-
Stop.
Gotta
Stop.
give them props.
They're the youth. Listen, I am giving them their props.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm not talking to the ones who are saying.